Mick at night.
It's Mick at Night. It's such a delight. Hey, everybody, it's Mick at Night. Filmed live in front of a studio audience.
Well,
I'm still contractually obligated to play that. You have a better deal than Bobby Bonilla, I think. Stuck
I think
playing
it's
that
awesome.
forever.
So I love the idea of Friday night TV. And I know that historically, Friday night TV only found success when we were children.
Yeah. Yeah, it really
But
did.
I love the idea of TGIF. What was the Nickelodeon one?
Snick. That was Saturday nights.
That was Saturday night. Snick was Saturday night. That's right.
TGIF owned Fridays. That was Saturday. And then Sundays could be. Well, I mean, Simpsons had them for a long time.
In Living Color.
Oh, In Living Color. That's right.
In Living Color was on Saturdays. In Living Color.
That's such a great show.
Jennifer Lopez.
Well, then jump on, Sturdy. Let's go.
Yeah, Sturdy. Let's go, man.
God, yeah, she was one of the Fly Girl. Yeah, Fly Girls, what they call them. Jesus, he's in. Ironically, I called you a character from fucking a Jim Carrey movie, and now we're going to another one. But do you know that Fire Marshal Bill is in Liar Liar?
Yeah,
I love that.
In the background scene. It's right at the end, right?
When they wheel him out, it's so weird. They wheel him out on the gurney in the airport scene. As soon as he was wheeled off, you see him walk in behind.
I love
it's so crazy, dude. I love it.
I will say so. Now that I've finished it, you can really see the glitter now.
Yeah,
but
you should. I bet you if you poured more on, it would kick.
I wonder. So my question is this: if I had taken it instead of shaking the glitter to get it inside suspended in the liquid, do you think if I had sprinkled it over the top, it would have shown up better?
I think if you had done both.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see one cocktail online where a person put a rim of edible glitter around the edge of the glass.
That'd be cool too.
My question with it was like, so it was like something about like New Year's, but isn't it just going to end up all over your lips then?
Yeah, basically.
So I was like, yeah, I'm not so keen on it. I don't know. I guess I could have put the edible glitter inside the cubes.
You're either going to get it on your lips from the drink or the stripper's ass later. So
yeah, I'll fart punch a stripper right now. I didn't even say that right. Oh my god!
Did you say fart punch a stripper?
Yeah. You've never heard that before?
I've heard punch in the fart box.
Or tongue punch. That's another one.
I've heard that. You went the different route with it. I'm just imagining you punch a stripper in the ass. Like right in the asshole. I'm like, why would you do that?
Talk about absurd. My etiquette at a strip club, right? And I don't know how many guys have this story.
Mesh shorts, no underwear?
No, I am not big strip club guy. No, I've been to strip clubs, whatever. I'm not like that enthralled by it. Maybe because I've never had to pay for it, but I'm not that enthralled by it. It's just so when I go there, I usually end up drawing. You know how they sit down at your table?
Mm-hmm.
I like draw them into conversation, and I'm like talking to them about their life. Like
Jesus,
I don't know what else to do. I'm very impressed.
Really teaching them.
Like I'm very impressed by what they do. I'm very impressed by what they do.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, it's an art form.
Athletic specimens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it is amazing. I'm not even really paying attention to the fact that they're naked. I'm just like, wow, did you see that she just hung on one leg off the side of a rail, extended the other leg and both arms at the same time, and then spun down? I can't
walk from my bed to the bathroom naked without getting my nutsack attached to my leg at least 4 times. So I can't fathom the idea of a woman going up and down a pole and like dancing around that. No, it's an art form. It's like when you watch gymnastics and you're like, yeah, no, I wasn't built for that.
But when I'm there, I'm like, they'll sit down at the table and they'll start chatting me. They chat you up because they want you to either get a dance or like buy them a drink or something like that, right? And I usually end up like, I'm like, so what's your backstory? Backstory? I'm like, no, seriously, like, what's the story? Like, what are you, 21? 20, whatever. Fill in the blanks. And like, I end up having this conversation a lot. Like,
you need to write a Mad Libs.
Like, usually their stories are kind of sad.
Yeah,
but I don't care because I'm not good at small talk anyway. And so
you just go straight for the long talk. How did your dad hurt you?
I don't go that route. I'm usually just like, and a lot of them are still going. A lot of them are taking classes at college. Like, a lot of them are taking college classes. Some of them like make enough money that they don't even like have to do anything else. And like, so I just talk them up, and I'm just like, so I treat it like pro wrestling though. I'm like, so what's your shtick? What's your gimmick? Are you a face? Are you a heel? When you come on stage, do you want everybody to think you're the bad girl, or do you want them to think you're like, innocent and sweet? And we get into the whole strategy. One girl actually was like, I need to do that. And I was like, honestly, I'm just stealing from wrestling. And they're like, what? I was like, like Hulk Hogan. I was like, do you want to be the Hulk Hogan up there, or do you want to be like the Iron Sheik? Do you want to be the like, which direction are we going up here? And like, she was like, I'm going to incorporate that. I was like, you should, man. You should be like, I'm the bad guy. And when you come out there, you want people to think, man, this is the girl who, when she goes to the backstage, she's the one who beats all the other girls up.
And this has been another Ted Lasso moment with Dan.
Jesus Christ.
I found a new thing.
Did you do that up on purpose?
Yes.
Oh my God.
No, I didn't bring that up on purpose. I didn't even bring that up. I said glitter on your lips from the stripper's ass.
No, the Ted Lasso thing.
Set us down this path to you being Ted Lasso.
You think Ted Lasso would have a conversation with a stripper about strategizing how to do better on the stage?
Yes, I 1000% believe that.
Well, think about this. Imagine. So, how about this? A stripper with an econ degree, and her whole gig is maximizing the amount of profit while minimizing the amount of effort, right? So what is the maximum amount of effort that you can get? Replace the whole...
Welcome back to the Ted Lasso Rewatch podcast, or Dan's Watch podcast.
But like, think about that. Like, the world's like mathematically smartest stripper, right? How cool is that? There you go. There's your TV show, man.
Wait a second. What's the barometer here? Okay, because is she just a mathematic
No,
genius?
she's Goodwill Hunting. So Goodwill Hunting.
She's Goodwill Hunting, but is she? So I guess I'm trying to differentiate, because you said a mathematical genius stripper. So are you talking about the smartest stripper in the land? Or are you talking about an actual, like, she just happens to be a stripper?
Nope, opposite. So she is naturally a stripper, right? And she has her Ben Affleck, who's like a maybe she's like
naturally a stripper. You just choose.
So you have your Ben Affleck, and she's like a 25-year-old stripper, right?
Okay.
And then you have your 20-year-old or 19 or whatever, but she's brilliant. She just happened to like, this is like, she happened into this for it. And like, you're better at the TV shit than I am. But if I were writing it, I would make it like, something tragic happened upon graduation, kind of like, Dan's not nice, Derpy.
Hey, Derpy. Welcome back to
So she like navigates into the stripper world with like, calculus and at function statistics and trigonometry in high school. She gets in there and she's watching all these other strippers, and she says, man, you guys are putting a lot of effort in. Have you ever sat down and thought about the mathematical comparison between effort and profit? And so she revolutionizes it, and it's entire. And so the whole thing, it's like she's doing this and she's brilliant, all this stuff. And the Ben Affleck is like, what are you doing? why are you doing this? You know, and you have the whole speech where it's like, one day I'm going to show up for my shift and you won't be there, you know? And you can even have the it's not your fault part. You can even have the not it's not your fault part. So it's Goodwill Hunting, but at a strip club.
I think my favorite part of this story is that you're equivalent to them being construction workers that women are strippers.
But think about this. This would be awesome. I'd watch the hell out of that movie.
That's just I would. I'd watch it. I would watch it.
Like, and you could get oh my god. So you can make Anna Taylor-Joy or something like that would be the math genius, and then maybe the other one would be God, who would be a good mentor role?
Well, I'm not doing that one.
I can't even think about that. It'd have to be somebody who's like 25, right? Like, so it has to be believable because they're still a dancer.
Yeah, I this feels like the wrong direction to take.
No, it's not the wrong direction.
All right, Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, she would dig it too. You know, she'd be into that role.
It'd be cool if because they match up well together. Put Jen Ortega as the mathematician.
You got to have the contrast between the dark hair and the light hair.
Why?
Just like in Goodwill Hunting.
That's not why that happened. Have you heard about
Some brilliant artistic choices are accidental.
Have you heard about the I'm not saying this is true. I don't want it to be true. Oh. Hollywood has a way of letting me down though. Do you want to hear the conspiracy theory about Goodwill Hunting?
Oh God. Are you going to ruin one of Miranda's favorite movies?
I might. It's kind of sad. No, I won't ruin the movie, but I may ruin the story behind the movie.
Let's have it.
So the idea is that in Goodwill Hunting, the whole story behind it is these two friends, they came together, they wrote the script, they sold it, they sold themselves as the stars, they won an Academy Award. It's, best actor or supporting actor for Robin Williams. The studio Weinstein won that year and shit. Well, what if
Minnie Driver wrote the script?
What if these two Boston boys who have been in the industry as children, kind of kicking around trying to get jobs, maybe didn't grow up together, but producers saw an opportunity to make a story behind to sell the
No way.
Here's the deal, Dan. That is a big one. That is a big one. But when I heard it, I've seen so many little ones. I could believe it.
Like they Disneyed it. It's like a studio. It's like the
90s
version of the studio system.
Like studios putting plants and stuff. Yes, plants are real. Like I don't care what anybody says. Every time somebody's like, "Oh, studio plants aren't real," but it's usually the celebrities that are being called the plants. Their plants are real.
So we talk about this a lot in terms of actors and actresses, right? Their best role. I am so curious to see, because Matt Damon is a divisive actor, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What is his best role?
It's great. That's a fucking great fucking question.
That's hard, right? That's hard because he has some stinkers. Look at his IMDb.
Actually,
Like we did the one where he did the Great Wall of China. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was bad.
So fucking bad.
He's got some stinkers in there. He does. He has some bad roles.
Well, I think if you're an actor, especially a movie star who does a lot, The Martian.
Now I will say The Martian is a great book, ladies and gentlemen. Andy Weir wrote a great book.
Oh, he did great in that role.
You love it that much?
I love his performance that much.
All right. That's
and
what you say.
Now I'm gonna look. I'm gonna keep looking, but right now, The Martian lies very heavy.
Hi, Brandy. I don't know Brandy. Do you know Brandy?
Strippers getting cancer from AIDS. Call the
Brandy, thank you
exotic
for joining
hour.
after the part where
boy.
I was being extremely offensive.
Oh no, that's not. We were rewriting Good Will Hunting. Hey, Brandy, I hope you enjoy it. We're having some fun. We're absolutely fun and absurd sometimes. Sometimes. So now I'm trying to think. There's so many movies on here. Because that's this fucking producer.
I know what I think his best role is, but I want to wait for you.
Yeah. I want to, because you're very sure.
I'm
of
very
yourself
sure
in a
what
lot
his
of
best
ways.
role is, and
so
I don't think you'll think of this role. And actually, low key, it might be the other actor in the movie's best role too, despite the other actor having more chops.
Here's the deal: is it an actual role? Because I'm not counting little cameo bits or stuff. Like
actual role. Yep.
Loki and Dogma was really fucking good.
It's good. Not his best, in my opinion.
No, I wouldn't say best, but I did feel like that deserved an honorable mention. Interstellar was good, but to me, that's a bit part.
It's a bit part. I don't count that. Plus, that's an ensemble cast, and
I did like We Bought a Zoo. I realize I really liked We Bought a Zoo. That's your favorite.
Is that the family? Is that the dad Mick coming out?
I like that one. Oh, I'll tell you his best movie scene, acting wise, Contagion. When he finds out his wife, when they tell him his wife died.
I disagree. His best scene in this movie as well.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm excited. Wait, no.
Oh,
I want to look. I want to try and guess.
Okay.
I didn't see Invictus.
Nope. But I mean, obviously, he was amazing. He won an Academy Award for that, didn't he? Or was he not nominated?
He might have been nominated.
Okay.
Having a tough time with this one. I don't want to say
he's a divisive actor. Like,
yeah, he's good in the Ocean's movies, the Bourne movies, very different movies. The Departed. Oh my God, was he amazing in the?
But it's not his best role because not only that, he is the fourth best actor in that movie. Like,
that's true.
They could have put.
That's saying something. You got Jack Nicholson. You have Martin. Martin.
It's Leonardo. It's DiCaprio's best role. I mean, that's. I'll die on that hill.
See, I think Damon did a better job.
We're talking about Matt Damon, Brandy.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out Matt Damon's best role.
Extremely divisive actor.
Is it Stuck on You?
No. But he did. Who did he get paired up with in that movie?
Greg Kinnear.
Kinnear, who is an underrated actor in my opinion.
I agree. Fuck. Was it Finding Forrester or The Legend of Bagger Vance? I swear to God, if you say
no, it is not The Legend of Bagger. That's a stinker for him, in my opinion. He does a terrible job in that movie, and Will Smith does too.
He was good in Saving Private Ryan,
but it's a bit part for him.
It is a bit part. The Rainmaker.
See, Derpy, I hated that movie. I went to go see that movie when my wife was away on vacation, and I kid you not. So I'm a car guy. I've talked about this before with Sturdy. I'm a car guy.
Jesse's awesome.
I was pumped to watch Ford versus Ferrari because the Ford GT is one of my favorite cars of all time, and the fact that the GT was able to win Le Mans and all that. They don't even I was like, can we get to the race already? Like, is that saying poop Interstellar or good? And I don't know. What does he mean by deuce, Mick?
I'm not sure.
No, but
have to clarify.
I mean, it's a bit role in my opinion, but he did great. But I did hate how Christopher Nolan wrote him as Dr. Mann. Like, that's a little too on the head there, Nolan. Like,
School Ties? Is it School Ties?
Nope.
Is it okay? And here's my connection to this.
Yep.
Is it The Good Old Boys starring Tommy Lee Jones and Sissy Spacek with Matt Damon playing their son, and their other son was played by Blaine Weaver, who I'm going to see tomorrow and happens to be a friend of mine and has been on the show quite a bit.
That's awesome. You ready?
I had to do a plug since we're doing Matt Damon.
Love it.
Hey, Jesse, how you doing, man? Go check out our podcast with Jesse. It's out this week.
I think that Matt Damon's best role is Rounders. And the best scene, so when his
great movie,
his ex-girlfriend comes back, because it's almost like the inversion of Will Hunting, right? Like, he comes back into his apartment and everything is sold. And he's sitting in his apartment in a fucking chair with a half-empty bottle of liquor. And she's just like, he's got his black eye because Edward Norton, which potentially I think that's Edward Norton's best role too. Okay.
Primal Fear was good though.
I know he has, and that's what I mean by another actor that has more chops, right?
Oh,
like,
his role was dickhead, and it's interesting.
Oh.
He was a dickhead.
I think that Rounders is his best role, and his best scene is when she comes back to that apartment and he's sitting there, and all he has is a fucking chair and nothing but a half-empty bottle of liquor, and he's got that black eye. And she's like, what are you doing? At this point, he's pissed off the judge. He's pissed off his friend, like all of this stuff. And he's so down and out. And he gives this real, like anybody out there who grew up poor knows exactly what he says in that moment.
I don't remember.
he said, he says, I came into this with basically nothing and I might leave with nothing. And he's not regretful about a single damn thing. He says, nah, I earned this. I did shitty. And it's Matt Damon at his best. He's not being Boston guy. He's not he's not doing any of this stuff. He's being, it's half empty in that moment, Brandy. His life sucks at that moment because
he lost it. He literally lost it all.
Thanks to Edward Norton being a shitty friend. I had a friend like that in high school who, when we watched that movie, he's like, you're like Matt Damon and I'm like Edward Norton. I was like, you're owning that? You want to stand on that? That's the ladder you want to stand on? You're like Edward Norton in that film? Thanks, buddy. That's a great movie. I think that's Matt Damon's best role. I think it's low-key Edward Norton's best role, despite how many great roles he's done in his career. I love that movie. It's one of the realest movies I've ever watched about how it is to be truly behind the eight ball. And so my favorite part, he's behind the eight ball. And what does he do? Doubles down like you should. He doubles down, he goes and he wins.
Yeah.
Bets on himself.
He's got nothing left to lose. That's what it takes. It's like when you live when you live your life in that lane, even if you diverge from it, you could be forever, it could be for a small period of time. That lane never leaves you.
And that's it. My message from that movie, and I did it as a football coach. I do it in my regular life. When stuff is,
hi Randy, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yes.
You know what? And can you guess the percentage of time? Because I had to track this as a defensive coordinator, Mick. Can you guess the percentage of time I blitzed as a defensive coordinator?
I'm going to say it's less than 5.
92% of the time I rushed.
You blitzed?
Yeah.
You're a maniac.
No, that's when things are down and out, there's only one person you can bet on, and it's yourself. I love that about that movie. I love it because at the end of the day, I would rather lose betting on myself than anything else. And Tim can vouch for this. His dad, my stepdad, had this saying: ain't no fun waiting around to be a millionaire. And if you're waiting at the free throw line of life for somebody to set you a pick, you're going to be waiting the rest of your life. And the only person that you can bet on is you. And I love that about Rounders. When it's down and out, what does he do? He throws a Hail Mary. He sends a blitz. He goes all out. He goes back to the Russian and says, let's go toe to toe. Okay. And I know if I lose, you'll probably kill me. But if I win everything. And do I love that. I love every second of that.
Believe in yourselves.
Above anything else, especially when the chips are down.
There you go.
Double believe in yourself when the chips
Wait a second. Believe?
Geez.
In yourself? Wow. Where's that? I've heard that. I wonder if you can blitz in soccer.
I don't think you can. I don't know. I tried. So my soccer playing, we can put it around quotes, days lasted one season. It was my freshman year in college. I tried playing intramural soccer. I broke 2 people's tibias.
Jesus Christ, Dan.
I got red carded twice, yellow carded every game.
You're a maniac.
I'm bad soccer. I'm bad soccer player.
Oh God.
Couldn't be because I grew up playing football and wrestling and boxing and but I was a bad soccer player.
So I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, Dune 2. Do you want spoilers?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's hard because I feel like he's following the book, not religiously. I've seen that, but in such a way where the points are still there. The storytelling points are still there. So it's hard to really kind of give spoilers, but I don't want to put spoilers out there for anybody who hasn't seen
No.
it.
Spoiler free. This is what I'll say about Dune 2. It is bigger, better acted, and better written than the first one. And that's saying a lot, I think.
I believe that.
I'm gonna go watch it again this weekend. I watched it last night. That's why I'm kind of like manic right now. I think we're watching art right now. It's like how people felt when they first watched, if they were like a film, they did. Yeah. And meanwhile, I got my ass
Yell that.
I got my ass thrown off the field. And we had a female, so one of the
You should have yourself a San Diego.
What's wrong with how I say San Diego?
You're saying it more. No, that's not how you're saying it. Go back and watch Dan's show and watch the beginning. Well, watch the whole thing because it's really good. But make sure you stick around for the part where he says San Diego, but he says it's
whale's vagina. So FYI, I've received criticism for this before. So a 90s band, right? They sing a song called Santeria. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Sublime.
So I say it Sublime. Is that
Sublime.
weird?
Say it again.
Sublime.
Sublime.
Is that weird?
It's the way you say it.
Do I say it weird?
We're saying it the same way.
See, I can't. So I people make fun of me. Anyway, Dune 2, FYI, the popcorn bucket, Derpy, you can only get at AMC. And I found that out last night because I did not go to an AMC. I went to a Celebration and I got a weird gold bucket instead. I wanted the angry butthole bucket. And I was going to bring it on the show tonight and then put my hand in it inappropriately.
Jesus.
But Dune 2 is bigger, better acted, and better written than the first one. That's saying a lot. The first one is a masterpiece. The second one, like if the first one is a masterpiece, I don't know what to call the second one.
I will refuse to call them masterpiece for the sheer fact that together they are perfect. They will be a masterpiece together.
It's so all 3 films, and this is my question to you, Mick, is Villeneuve the only director left doing real films? I mean, indie stuff is different, right? I'm not even talking about the indies. I'm talking mainstream.
You're talking mainstream. Yeah.
Because Nolan, in my opinion, he lost it the second he did Tenet, right? And kind of Interstellar. I like Interstellar, but Interstellar was kind of whack. Is Villeneuve the last director left standing?
No, I don't think the last left standing. Because if J.J. Abrams does a movie, it's going to be fun.
I'm not talking fun,
but that's cinematic. It's a cinematic fun.
This is my thing. So Spielberg, we've talked about Spielberg before, and where Spielberg is a genius. And you know, I like Spielberg, even though we disagree where the movies lie. I love Spielberg. It's equal parts fun and art. That's where I think Spielberg is genius. It meets in the middle between art and fun. And it's this weird kind of like synergy, like equal parts artistic, equal parts fun, equals masterpiece, right? So though I drag on Jaws, though I drag on Jurassic Park, they are masterpieces.
Okay.
So this movie and Dune 1, in my opinion, are the same way. It's like you can see on the screen. And by the way, go see it in IMAX.
I want to.
Do not see it on the regular screen. Go see it in IMAX because it's that big, and like everything is big. Like Peter Jackson big. That's kind of like,
I can't wait to see this fucking movie.
Oh, dude, it's Peter Jackson big, okay? And I guess I could throw Peter Jackson in there if he didn't fuck up The Hobbit so bad. But like, and I love The Hobbit. By the way, I am a Hobbit apologist, but he could have just made one movie.
He could have. I agree.
Anyway, Dune 2 and Villeneuve, he has this film, and he's telling the second third of a book, and this is the best part about it. He embraces an entire archetype of the hero's journey in a way that directors just don't do now. It's weird because he's almost being postmodern by not being postmodern. Because every other director now, and this is where postmodernism is self-effacing and self-ending. Every other director is like, I'm going to defy your expectations. Yeah, right? They're fart sniffers. And he's like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go all the way back to beginning. I'm going to embrace these like entire Socratic methods of storytelling where you are embracing the hero's journey and archetypes in a way that matter. And he's like, you know what? Paul Atreides, he is a hero. He's going to make difficult decisions. He's going to go through this entire journey. He's going to have stuff stripped from him. He's going to have stuff added to him. And by the end, he's going to be stronger as a direct result of the journey that he went through. We're not going to give him anything. He's going to earn every bit. And at the end, you're going to feel conflicted about whether he's a better person, but he is a better person by the end. And
yeah,
that I mean, it just depends on your definition of it, right? And so almost by being classical, Villeneuve is being postmodern because he's abandoning postmodern principles.
I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen this movie yet, but I mean, I read the book and I've seen the original movie, which whatever.
You watch it.
Whatever. But I will say this. I think that by what I see in kind of the direction the first one seems to be taking, like, yeah, Paul is that this whole book is not just about this, but like the so what I'm looking for, the heavy as the crown, the burden of power.
Burden of power. Okay. Yeah. And so that's the whole thing with the hero's journey, right? Is like choosing to reject or embrace your destiny is an entire part of this archetypal journey. You think about Odysseus, who is to a certain extent, that's the origin of the hero's journey. It's really not. But if you read Joseph Campbell's monomyth, which breaks down the idea that that's why it's monomyth. There's only one story that you can ever tell.
The story of this is the same exact story as Star Wars. Let's be real.
And it's the whole time. I'm glad you said that. The whole time I was watching
that is Joseph.
What I thought in my head was like, imagine, and I'm even going to dog on Lucas with this. Mm-hmm. Imagine if Star Wars had a director like Villeneuve who put that amount of attention, that amount of detail, that amount of scope, that amount of care into the story.
Here's my argument.
Oh,
I think for the time, especially coming out of the studio system, especially with the studios still very much in control and giving the money, George Lucas was that with Star Wars.
But I'll counter that, Mick.
All right.
Because we already have Kubrick.
We do.
So at the point when Star Wars comes out, we already have Kubrick.
That's not a fair assessment. That's not a fair assessment. I'm not saying for the level that Star Wars is in the 70s, if Villeneuve had to film his Dune in the 70s, it would look just like Star Wars. I'm not saying the story would be exact same. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be dark. What I'm saying is the grittiness.
Though, so I watch Star Wars and then I watch Space Odyssey, and somehow, despite Space Odyssey being made a decade earlier, the film looks better.
It does, because Kubrick, Hitchcock, like these guys, yes, these are the auteurs that you would compare
Villeneuve is auteur doing epic movies.
Yes, I 100% agree. I would compare him more to David Lean.
I don't know that name.
Lawrence of Arabia.
Perfect comparison. Perfect comparison.
Yeah.
Okay, I know the film. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a big epic director. Even actually, maybe Villeneuve, that might not even be close enough for Villeneuve. Like I
think
maybe
Nick,
Cecil B. DeMille.
I'm gonna wait on committing to this statement, but this is how I feel now.
Okay.
Which is different than committing, right? That's like, I feel like there's a variation between that. Potentially, Dune 2 is the best, not just my favorite, which potentially too. Dune 2 is the best film I've ever seen, potentially.
Wow.
Like my top 5 never really changes. You got Alien, you have Blade Runner 2049, which also Villeneuve. You have the Kubrick movie with the hotel. Why can't I think of it? The Shining. The Shining. Like, you have these movies that are untouchable in that top, my top tier. I think it might be better than those films.
I completely understand.
And those movies have been my favorite movies since I was in high school.
Yeah. Hey, everything changes. You can get to great. Here's my thing. It's the same principle. I love Empire Strikes Back. And I was actually, when you mentioned yesterday that this is this 2/3 of the way through the book,
yep,
I gasped a little bit.
Because it's like the same way.
No, the trilogy curse. The third movie in every trilogy, first of all, it's an away mission. That's my own personal. I've talked about that. I know I've talked about it on a show before. I think we've talked about it, but every third movie in any franchise is an away mission. And then, so that's just me personally, but every trilogy, the third movie is considered the poorest. Now, here's my theory on why that is. Because us in a whole have taken years worth of a journey that the end can never be satisfying enough. But when I go back later and I look at things, Return of the Jedi is satisfying to me. Back to the Future 3, satisfying to me.
I'm going to challenge you on something.
Okay.
Rewatch Godfather 3.
I just recently did. I don't. Well, in fairness, I watched the Coda version.
Watch the original Blu-ray version and the Blu-ray recut. I mean, like, not recut, but remaster. Sorry. Visually perfect. Audio is phenomenal, by the way. We've had this conversation with Jason, I think. I am a Godfather 3 apologist. Everybody forgets that movie was nominated for Best Picture that year. I have no issue with Sofia Coppola's role in that film. I think that it is better than people advertise. I'm granted, when you're comparing against The Godfather 1 and 2, like, that's not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Like,
you lost. I mean, Tom not being in it, not getting Duvall back was kind of shitty, and that was on them.
No, well, for sure. But also, Robert Duvall was a lot bigger actor by that point. I can't imagine the overhead that they would have had trying to get, like, can you imagine getting both Al Pacino and Robert Duvall in 1990?
But you already set out on something where you should have. You should have done that. Like, his character was still alive when we left off, and he was still there and willing to do it. You should have done it. Now, I'm not going to hang that all up. Now, going back and watching the Coda version, yeah, I've softened on it over the years, but like, I've put up a good fight watching the Coda version again after years. I was like, you know what? I don't know that I need to watch it ever again, but I don't hate it.
Worst off-screen kill. I know we're getting way off topic, but ladies and gentlemen,
What topic? We've just been going.
Worst.
This started from punching strippers in the asshole.
I'll do it right now.
Not
well,
those
but
kind
only
of
with
strippers.
my tongue. Anyway,
Dolphin strippers.
Worst. Sorry, off-screen kill. Tom in The Godfather 3.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian and Rocky Balboa.
Tom.
Whoa, really? Okay.
Yeah.
What's your defense? Because I don't have an opinion either way, and
because I thought the story. I thought the story of Adrian after her character died was still beautiful.
Okay.
It didn't become pointless.
But Tom's death was like meaningless.
Tom's point was just because they treated it that way, like, oh, Tom's dead. Tom died too. Like, he was a brother. He was a fucking brother. He was one of Vito's sons.
Though, and that matters, right?
That does no, that matters. But he couldn't be made, of course, because he's Irish. But it matters. I agree, 1,000%.
Yep.
But it's still family to Michael. He still would be haunted by it, and it didn't feel like he was enough.
How did
I don't know if that was the writing.
June 2.
I want
to. This is what I like about being on shows with you, Mick, and this is what drew me into the community in the first place. Was like, and I'm not as this. I would be the first person to admit I'm not as knowledgeable as some people that we are in our sphere, right? Like I know a lot about a lot of different stuff, but I don't know specifics in the same way as other people do. Mm-hmm. I love the idea that like we can discuss not just like pop culturally, but also academically about how films kind of like transverse and compare between different things. That mindset that comparisons can't happen anymore, I think is erroneous. And I think actually comparisons are essential because we have to know where we were to know where we are, to know where we're going. I mean, that's how I taught history. That's how I taught history. That's how I taught literature. I said, like, you got to understand there is no such thing as a new story, and there never will be, because there's only one story that anybody can ever tell.
Yeah.
But to know where things are like morphing, you have to know where they were and where we are right now. And that's what I love about, and I'll bring it full circle. That's what I love about Dune 2. Dune 2 knows where we are, where we were, and where we're going.
Yeah. Okay. And that is the clever thing about Dune. The story overall that I really like is that it is you would think by looking at it, it's a pessimistic view of the future.
What I love about it is Frank Herbert looked at everybody and said, there are two authors that do this. Frank Herbert and a guy by the name of Dan Simmons, by the way. He looked at everybody and said, oh yeah, future? How about 10,000 years in the future? Go ahead and find a problem with it. Yeah. That's what he did. I love that. Now, by the fourth book, where he died halfway through and his son took over and finished the book for him, that got weird. Yeah. Spoiler alert, by the time that ends, Paul Atreides ends up a worm. And the worm he calls for the very first time when he rides the worm is him. Because worms are eternal and endless. Because it's always the same worm reborn. I can't make that shit up. I turned to my friend I have a friend that I go see movies like this with, Mick, who is like, I mean, he's always been a mentor to me, but in all seriousness, he and I side by side have made each other better our whole lives. He's like a little bit older than me. We were best friends in high school, still friends now. Like,
hold on to that.
His master's degree. So mine is in literature, but his is specifically in science fiction.
I love it. You should come on. I'll talk to him.
He doesn't. That's the other part. He would never come on a YouTube show.
Oh,
sorry, man. Like that's
yeah.
it's just the difference. He's very antisocial.
I understand.
So despite the fact that he's a teacher, I taught with him for 13 years.
That's awesome.
So that's he like, despite that, he and I when I was at the school with him, he and I crafted an English curriculum that challenged the best schools in the state, but we taught really poor white people. So imagine we took really, really impoverished white people and they could compete against the wealthiest white people in Michigan.
So it's going to be a movie one day for Disney.
No, it won't be a movie. Oh my God. They loved us. Don't get me wrong. Kids loved us, but like, no, they, while they were in school, if you depicted that, did they hate us? Because like, I said this to one of my teachers today, because now I'm taking the dog and pony show to the inner city, right? well, Johnny is still in rural Michigan. I took the dog and pony show to the inner city. And I told one of my teachers today, I said, like, I'll be honest, I never did art stuff. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, it didn't matter if it was middle school or high school. I never did art stuff. I was never doing stuff where people are drawing pictures and printing stuff off. Everything was right. Writer's right. So right. And like, he looked at me. He was like, really? And I was like, I'll tell you what, if I was in your classroom right now, there wouldn't be a day that goes by that they don't write at least a paragraph. There wouldn't be a week goes by that they don't write at least one essay. There wouldn't be a month goes by that they don't write at least one research project. He was like, you'd make them do all that? I was like, they do it or fail.
Jesus, dude.
And my kids did it for me.
All right. How many of them passed?
What's that?
How many of them passed?
All of them.
Nice. I like it.
Well, this is why, Mick, is like, as long as you did the work, think about the world we live in, right? If you do the bare minimum at your job for your whole life, are they ever going to fire you? No. Do your work. You pass. Here's your 60%. I will make sure you are a gainfully employed citizen of this country. You want to be exceptional? Let's be fucking exceptional. And that's the talk they got. So, like,
you demand exceptionalism. I get it, brother. That's awesome.
Well, but I also accept mediocrity, which is the key. You can't demand exceptionalism and then not accept mediocrity, because then you reject choice. And exceptionalism can't come from outside. It can only come from within. And if you tell somebody they have to be exceptional, it's not their exceptionalism, it's yours. But if they choose to be exceptional,
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at what I just looked at.
Oh, God, what?
I looked at us, and I thought to myself for a second, this is a live show on Friday night on YouTube. Random people come in and out all the time just to see what's going on.
Yep.
Hashtag dolphin strippers is on the screen, and it's two white guys talking about exceptionalism.
This is the other part, is like, you want to know my most exceptional story in education, though?
Yes.
So I had a kid when I taught in Benton Harbor. Benton Harbor, Michigan is if you carved a 5 square mile piece of Southside Chicago and dropped it into southwestern Michigan. Okay. It is like 98% African American. And I'm not making it up. There's a bridge that goes between Benton Harbor and St. Joe. You can look this up. They call it the longest bridge in the United States, because St. Joe, which is on the other side and directly attached to Lake Michigan, is entirely white. Well, it's the most segregated area of the entire United States, by the way.
Jesus Christ.
Separated by a river and a bridge. And on the first thing you see as you cross the bridge and you get to the white side, the first thing you see is the jail. Can't make that shit up. Look up this book. It's called The Other Side of the River. It's by Alex Kotlowitz, and it investigates a murder in the early 1990s in Benton Harbor, Michigan.
What's the deal with the jail? It's on the other side of what?
So imagine this. Like, you have Lake Michigan.
Okay.
You have the city of St. Joseph, which is 97% Caucasian.
Okay.
Then you have a bridge so St. Joe it's not an island or anything like that, but this river winds around it, so it almost makes this little indent into Lake Michigan. And that bridge, the first thing that you see on that bridge is a jail tower. And then as you cross the bridge, you get over into mainland Michigan. You get in this Benton Harbor, which is it's like 97% African American. And this guy, Alex Kotlowitz, writes this book called The Other Side of the River, which investigates a murder that took place in Benton Harbor. An African American male was charged with the murder despite a lack of evidence in the 90s.
Surprise.
Right? And it's a great book, by the way. If you ever want to check out this kind of know some darker sides of Michigan, The Other Side of the River is a great book. But what I'm teaching there in 2009, there's a kid who is in 11th grade, and he comes to me after school one day in October, and he's like, I don't want to be like my parents. What do I do? Because often I use myself as an example of who not to be. All the time. I'm like, do not do this, do not do that. Like, this is what I did. Don't do that. And he's like, you hated your parents, but you still ended up where you wanted to be. How? And I said, I was just honest, to a certain extent, I rejected every single element of my upbringing that held me back. Love my mom, love my stepdad, love my brother. Parts of my family I had to leave behind. Mm-hmm. Especially my dad's side of the family so I had to right. And I just had to talk with him, and he and I tutored every day, basically after school. And he ended up getting a 23 on his ACT, which was one of the highest in the school. That's how bad the school was. Good enough to get into community college. That was the rule with him. I was like, we will get you to community college. We need to get you 2 years in a community college where you can learn. In community college will get you to a 4-year. So we get it. And to get that, I have to leave, right? I got to get out of there. I'll be honest. I was killing myself teaching this school. By the end of the year, I had 3 white spots right here behind my left ear where my hair had turned white. Oh. And I had an ulcer, and it was I was.
It's too much.
I was pushing myself too hard. No. So I leave. 2 years later, that kid ended up in prison.
That's not your fault, man.
But the gain that I made with him during that year shows the impact. Now, individual impact. I'm not talking about groups. Statistically, teachers only have a 3.4% chance of actually influencing a life. And that is data, not teachers will argue, I do whatever. No, sorry. That's what statistically the likelihood of you having an impact is. Now, you can have an impact on individuals, which is anecdotal, right? This is an anecdotal story about one student that I had at one time. And this one student, I did. And it made me so sad for a long time. I was like, and I don't think I failed him because I set a good example and he chose a path. But I went to go visit him when he was in jail. And he was like, I fucked up. And all I said to him was, what are you going to do about it? Because I'm not going to sit there and be judgmental or anything, right? I said, what are you going to do about it? He's like, I don't know what I can do in here. And I said, that sounds and this sounds terrible. I was like, that sounds like a loser mindset. How are you going to do that? And now he has an associate's degree and he's working in Southwestern Michigan for Whirlpool in their offices. So I guess win in the end, but I always wonder, I was like, if I had stuck it out there, and I don't know if I could have, but if I had stuck it out there, could that have been a different route?
But you made differences. You stepped in and you did. You tried. You worked at it. It's okay. It's okay that you didn't save everyone.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay to hear. It's hard to hear. I know. I'm going through a whole program about it now. It's okay. And you know what else? You gotta believe.
Oh, Jesus. That's 4 times.
I know. But that's a good sign.
He's even like way better looking than me. You ever see? So he's like in his 50s, isn't he?
I think he's only like 4 or 5 years older than me.
I thought he was in his 50s.
I'm gonna depress myself now.
Oh, here we go. He's got to be 54 is what I'm calling.
You son of a bitch, Dan. I'm gonna be in fucking 12 days. I'm gonna be 42.
Oh, I need to send you a birthday gift.
I don't want a birthday gift. I don't want to think about my birthday.
Not like me. I'm like, I go up to the lake house and I disappear and no, like, heart-wrenching story. So I turned 40 last year.
FYI is 48. I just wanted to put that out there.
I was 6 years off. Damn. Usually better at I'm not great, but I'm better at it than 6 years. So last year for my 40th birthday, and I thought this was so heartwarming. Which for me that's like means it's terrible for me, right? My wife got probably 20 people to make a DVD for me wishing me a happy 40th birthday, including 10 former students.
Yeah.
And like I
did I make something for that?
I think so.
Okay, good.
I think you did. I think Ward and Patricia definitely did. Of course, Tim. I mean, like
I remember being asked. I just remember like when it was happening. I think I had my leg infection, so I'm like, wait, did I get things done then?
I have it. I have the video file somewhere, but
you should watch.
What's funny is like I can't, and this is why. It's like stick with me for a second on this because I know that this is a different viewpoint than you have. My number one speech to anybody I've tried to help in my entire life is you don't need me. Like, and I honestly feel like this when people that I have helped reach back to be like, hey, I need more of your advice. I feel like a failure. So I have several students I have students that are in their mid 20s and late 20s who reach out and they're like, hey, what do I do about X, Y, and Z? Low-key feel like a failure when that happens. Because I'm like, I want you to be better than anything that I ever was. Because I am not special and I want you to be special.
Okay. Can I posit a different thing? As a guy who worked as a writer, wanted to get in filmmaking, wanted to get in writing, creating, I connected with teachers, right? And
it's an academic field. I know why.
Yeah. So like I connected with teachers and when you, especially when you come from like a bad household, and you and I have very similar upbringing. So I think you and I have a lot of the same, as mindset. I'm learning to identify them, core beliefs about ourselves.
Yep.
Right. So
I'm terrible. Everybody else is better.
I'm a burden on everybody. Yeah. I'm useless. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Because that's what we were told. That's what we were constantly told by people who were supposed to be there for us. So we are the guys who want to be there for the people who need people. And on top of that, you are also, I want you to keep in mind, thank you, Mila. On top of that, I want you to keep this in mind. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
And I'm not going to, this is not a Ted Lasso Jack. This is not Ted Lasso Jack. I believe in it. Like I do believe in that. A lot of what that show was preaching, because it opened my eyes, because like a lot of what happened to him in that show, I was going through at the time. My separation from my wife, all that stuff. So, so to go back to this though, when I was I think I was 25, between 25 and 28. I graduated college. I was like in the film industry, was writing scripts. I wanted to connect with a teacher, because I wanted to connect with him at this age, because I had never felt or thought like that at that age before. I had never been that person before. He knew me in high school, so I felt like reaching out to him to ask him questions about things of that time was more I don't think it's about failing somebody. They're always going to need good mentors, good people who are there for them, because a lot of the kids that really probably seem to be attracted to, attracted in a way where they feel like you're a safe person,
safe space for them.
Yeah, like they're probably used to not such safe environments, so you're somebody they can count on, and that's an important thing. And being able to come back to that, to even say, hey, look what I did, or something like that. Like that's,
I did it. I went back. In fact, one of my college drinking buddies was my high school history teacher.
Nice.
He was in his 70s. When I graduated, so I don't mean to derail a very poignant and serious moment, but when I graduated, he retired. And to this day, I was still salty at him for not giving the history award. He gave it to another student, and I busted his balls nonstop about it. He was like, the history department voted on it, and I was like, so you didn't override him? Oh
boy.
Oh,
trouble fucking seems to find us.
Hello.
Oh boy.
7.5 hours in traffic.
Oh boy. Don't do that. Don't do that. Nobody do that. That's not mental health awareness. We don't joke about that here. So let's keep that.
You go northbound on 95 in Fredericksburg, and then tell me about mental.
I got to mick them because you never know what's going to happen.
No. I know all about Fredericksburg. So in Fredericksburg, the Union Army failed to defend the right flank, and to a specific point, the Confederates managed to turn that flank and kind of channel the Union Army back towards Chancellorsville, which led to the greatest victory for the South during the Civil War. That's what we're talking about, right? Is like turning the flank?
No, I was talking about the 7.5 hours I spent in traffic. Sorry I'm late. It was awful. It's raining. It's disgusting. I had to go from DC to Manassas to Fredericksburg and back, and I have to be
all of these Civil War terms.
Yeah, we live in Civil War Central. I live an hour away from Gettysburg.
When I was in high school, I had all of the like numbers from First Manassas, Second Manassas, Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, Big Gettysburg. I had all the numbers memorized. I could tell you like the number of soldiers engaged, the casualties, what happened on each day or each half day in the case of something like Chancellorsville. In terms of battle, Cold Harbor, how many people died in an hour at Cold Harbor? Like, I can tell you all that stuff. And now, as somebody who never actually got to teach history, all I remember is the battles.
Dude, the fact that the Civil War even happened and the Appalachian Mountains were there bugs me. Here's why. This is too much work. All right, war is just too much work. So we should just give it up and just be friends. Why do we got to traverse through mountains and shit to fight over some shit?
Stonewall Jackson.
Everyone should be free and we should all be friends.
Stonewall Jackson used the Appalachian Mountains as a key strategic element in the movement of not only his cavalry, but also his infantry. And it's in large part why up until Chancellorsville, where Stonewall took a shot in the arm and ended up dying as a result of that shot, Stonewall was a key element of the Army of Virginia, and Robert E. Lee relied on him.
Well, come visit Stonewall's wall. I lived next to where Mosby's Raiders were buried.
No shit.
Yeah. That was,
so here's the funny part. Do either of you know the general that took over Stonewall's Raiders after he suffered that shot at Chancellorsville?
I have no idea, but I know where his wall is.
McAfee's butt sugar, do you remember? It's Longstreet, who basically lost Gettysburg for the Army of Virginia because he refused to take the left flank on the first day of Gettysburg, despite having numerical advantage over the Army of the Potomac.
So then, do you know why the Battle of Manassas 1 and 2 was the most important two battles of the Civil War?
Well, Manassas 1, which is interesting, like, I think one of the key elements of these two establishing elements of the entire Civil War is both battles are distinctly different from each other, where the first one was almost a spectacle, where people thought it would be over in a single battle. And then the second one is this key element in terms of how the turning point of what came to be 1861 and 1862, a series of successes for the Army of Virginia, happened. And so those two battles, in terms of their impact on the war, come back to only hope that raided back towards Europe
Supply lines.
The Confederacy.
Supply lines. The biggest major railroad track that runs from north to south runs right through Manassas, Virginia.
I don't remember.
Oh, who's the band that did who did the picture at Manassas train station? Who's the big band for their album? Oh, fuck. It was
I'm
like
sorry,
Alabama.
so what's funny is, do you guys know what the southern version of First and Second Manassas is? Because the Union named everything after railroads.
I'm not 100% sure he can hear me.
What's that?
I can hear you.
Then why didn't you answer the question?
Well, we do the Manassas battlefield tours. The significance of Signal Hill.
No, I mean
Signal Hill.
So here's some interesting trivia. Who is the only cadet from West Point in the entire history of West Point to graduate without one single demerit?
Without a demerit? I was going to say with all the demerits was Grant. I thought that was the question you were going to ask. I don't know.
The only cadet to graduate from West Point without a single demerit was Robert E. Lee, who was initially approached to lead the Union Army. And he
Crosby, Stills, Young, and Nash. No, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. And Buffalo with, I don't know, and somebody else. But it was their album was The Train Station, Manassas. Because that's where we lived.
I miss Civil War. I used to coach Quiz Bowl.
I lived 2 blocks from the Manassas train station.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
2 blocks.
Yeah, that's where we live. I lived next to him. Now I live out west. Dude, you guys got to come visit. I'll take you to Stonewall's Wall.
So it's funny.
It's funny you mention that. Every time I drop, so I have to take my kids to see their mom for the weekend every month, and I have to go down to, and Mike, you may know this, I have to go south past Ashland, Virginia. And one of the places we pass is Stonewall Jackson's burial site. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, remember the cemetery that was right next door to my house?
Yeah, that was a Confederate.
And when I say right next door, AJ can attest to this. The headstones were up against my fence. That was it was a Civil War cemetery, also a very popular Pokemon Go spot. And a few of a bunch of Mosby's Raiders were buried there, right?
I'm so curious.
And my swimming pool was like right next to it.
Do kids that grow up in this area, this is something, so in Michigan, I grew obsessed as a freshman and then a sophomore in high school, obsessed with the Civil War. I had, let's call it 40 Civil War reference material books, including Longstreet's own manual in the Civil War, on my shelf in high school, and had read cover to cover every single fucking one. I was obsessed. I would pore over fucking strategic maps of the battlefields, memorize where the little fucking blue and red triangles were, and
he has to come to Virginia. You have to come.
Dude, it's everywhere here.
Do kids in that area still?
No.
You couldn't come here, dude. If you came to visit and you wanted to see everything you could, and I was, I'm going to take you. You'd have to at least plan for a week. Because,
hold on.
Between the Bull Run battlefields, DC. Well, you've been to DC, so I don't know if you'd want me to take you to DC, but I could. And we could. No, you're not going. You're not going. No, because you make me walk all the time.
But only if he takes me I want to ride in the cruiser.
Oh God, no, you don't. No, you
don't.
I
do.
No,
yeah. So my grandpa was a.
This is Southeast DC is not where your grandfather worked.
My grandpa was assistant fire chief, and I used to get to ride with him when I was a volunteer fireman at the same time he was when I got out of the Army. I used to drive or ride. In terms of I miss having that fucking light on the top of the thing and nobody can fuck with me. I fucking miss that. I want to go 140 miles an hour and not worry about a motherfucker getting in my way.
Not riding with me. I don't go 140 miles an hour at all anymore.
Yeah, when I went, you did.
Yeah, we did. But no, I mean, there's a ton in Manassas. There's so much history, and it's actually my son who put me onto it because he's like a war nerd. Signal Hill, Bull Run, Manassas 1, and they actually preserved the battlefields. And there's some battlefields you can go in where there's still the original cannons that were set up. And when you start to read about it and you learn about it, so
you can see old houses with cannon holes and stuff. And
there's one main road in Manassas where I live. It's called Signal Hill Drive, and it's just a main road. Nobody would ever know about it. But when you go to actually where Signal Hill was and why it's called Signal Hill is because that's where, and I'm partial to it because when I was in the Marine Corps, I did artillery. That was the signal hill for their artillery cannons. My son loves it. Most kids don't. My son's more of a World War II guy.
I love World War One. I love because to me, World War II is just an extension of World War One, and so that's why the Civil War here in the US and World War One were obsessive points for me. And
there's a lot of components that go into it. I wrote 2 papers when I was in grad school about how, if you look at the history of the country, how the founding of the country and the Great Compromise in 1781 led to you had Federalist Papers and Anti-Federalist Papers, and how that kind of all just got
playing it out today.
We are, and it was how we never learn our lesson.
Nick.
This was our life, dude. This is how we grew up.
After the Civil War, when you talk about the Great Reconstruction, and when you talk about that strong, the federal government is going to tell everybody what they're going to do, and there's an interesting trivia caveat, and I'd love to play trivia with you. Is up until
I'll do it right now.
Up until
so here's what's fucked up. I qualified for Jeopardy in 2011. I qualified to go to Jeopardy, but I drew jury duty.
Well, that sucks.
At the same time. So I had to and I went in front of the judge and I said, I just qualified for Jeopardy. Can you please excuse? And he said it wasn't a good enough excuse. And so I didn't get to go to Jeopardy. And then the case got excused the night before I would have been leaving to go to Los Angeles to do Jeopardy. I kicked.
Oh, you better believe that's a peddling.
I kicked everybody's ass in Detroit. And that was back when you had to go on location. Now they do it on the internet. Mm-hmm. But I coach Quiz Bowl. I coach Rednecks, and still 5 of my teams ended up competing for state championships. I
watch Jeopardy every day.
Yeah, my wife and I used to compete. We'd have these books.
My wife and I do. And little caveat, you probably know it if and I'm not trying to insult you.
No, it's you can't.
Do you know when the United States of America officially was titled the United States of America?
1847.
No, it was after the Civil War. Prior to the Civil War, it was called These United States of America because it was about autonomy for each individual state.
1865. Second guess, got it.
So the separation in terms of federalism versus anti-federalism, we're still playing that out, and then the consequence of the Civil War.
Your two biggest proponents, Hamilton and Jefferson.
Mick, did you see the
Federalist?
Wait, which one?
So
no,
Hamilton,
shut up. Hold on. Hamilton.
So my wife wants me
What's
to go
the
see
question?
Hamilton. I finally to go see it.
At the conclusion of the Revolutionary War, you had this huge push for federalism versus anti-federalism.
Yep.
Jefferson, who is a quote-unquote at the time Democrat.
Well, I know what you're talking about. No, don't explain it. I know what it is. I can't hear the question. You're both talking at the same time.
I'm sorry, Mick. I'm so excited.
What's the question? And you're both like, well, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. I'm like, I don't even know what you're asking.
But so what is it? Like, I went to go see Hamilton. The story I was going to say is I went to go see Hamilton. And at one point they say in Hamilton, let's get back to the story. And I said out loud, thank you, in the middle of a fucking theater, because they were doing that stupid love story that they're talking about, the love story of Hamilton. And I wanted to get back to fucking what he's talking about. I want to get back to Jefferson. I want to get back to Hamilton. I want to get back to federalism and the impact at the outset of our country and how integral it is, what is going on. And like my wife punched me in the shoulder saying like, what are you doing?
The scary thing is if you ask people now, and I'm a political science nerd, let me just say that. If you ask your run-of-the-mill college indoctrinated idiot, what was the Great Compromise? I promise you less than 1% will ever know what the Great Compromise was. The single greatest thing that founded our country, they will have no idea what the hell it is. At all. Period, bar none.
The madness that comes with it, to a certain extent, is that, and I'll draw it even further back beyond federalism and anti-federalism, all the way back to England and the English Civil War in terms of the Anglican Church versus Cromwell. And that's where I draw it all the way fully back to, is this idea of where power lies. And it will go let's go even further back to John Locke. Locke versus Hobbes. Leviathan versus right of man, right? Let's go all the way back to 1615. Right of man versus Leviathan. And like, that's the question. And you know what terrified me, McAfee's butt sugar? You know what terrified me for years teaching seniors? You know what they preferred was the Leviathan for years.
And it's scary. But it's all cyclical, because if you look at the cyclical nature of it, look, communism, boogie, 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 communism, boogie, boogie, boogie. Ask somebody to research Fabian socialism and how Fabian socialism has infiltrated education since the 1920s. And the big difference, Mick's about to lose his freaking mind. You and I have to do our own podcast. I'm
sorry, Mick, I'm sorry. This stuff gets me going so hard because like I'm so pro individualism, and like it irks me to no extent how on both ends just ignore the whole sense of fascism versus what essentially is extreme socialism or early communism. Like people ignore it in like they could embrace Hobbesian viewpoint. Take my private property from my cold dead fucking hands, you assholes.
MasterShake. Research, and there's an article written. I believe it was in the Harvard Journal Review. The growth of Marx to Fabian, and how Marx was all about violence and pushing it, and Fabian, granted wrong, but a genius, said no, infiltrate and grow, and regardless of your political ideology, is just how you microcosm in. And then you can go even further back to McCarthyism and teaching McCarthyism in schools, and how we say you do, and how stupid.
I did a whole thing on McCarthyism for
Mick's like I just want to talk about Ghostbusters.
I have a show for McCarthyism.
I did that whole bit on McCarthyism, and then remember it was the same night we had that tornado that tore that tree out of my front yard. my power cut off.
I'll stop the political talk with the hypocrisy of McCarthyism was we are trying to stop this communist boogity of infiltrating everything while we're simultaneously doing the very same thing that we're worried about happening.
And it's why Arthur Miller was so brilliant when he wrote Arthur Miller's The Crucible is a fucking phenomenal microcosm of everything that was going on in terms of not just Hollywood to tie it into the Scene Snobs, but also the political ideology that was taking place out of Wisconsin with Joseph McCarthy and into the proclivity of everyday American life. And if you want to tie, okay, watch.
I'll be right back.
Watch any version that you want of Arthur Miller's The Crucible, whether it's the play or the film, and then watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers back to back. And I made my sophomores do this every year, and I made them say contrast it. Okay, where do you fall? Where do you want to be? And my sophomores constantly wanted to be the people judging, not the people fighting. And I was like, you make me fear for the future. I would rather be, I want to be Luke Skywalker. I want to be Paul Atreides. I want to be the person.
But think about that statement. Think about it. You have to be the minority to be that. They are the minority. They are not the powerful beings. The rebels aren't. The rebellion is not the powerhouse. The Freemans are not the powerhouse. They're not. They have to grow. They have to come together.
I'd rather be the person. I want to be the person standing in front of the tank, not the person driving it.
Exactly. You want to be there. You want to be. You want to and I'm just adding to what you're saying. Hold on, AJ. Hold on. We're going to talk about the Trump no surrenders in just a second.
Well, I wanted to chime in on a movie thing. No, we're going
to talk about the movie thing, but I just want to say one thing to Dan, to his point. Yes, you're going to stand up. That's the point, though. That's why we have these characters, because there's so few that are willing to do it, to be those John Connors, those I don't know. Let me think.
Oh, Jesus Christ! No, you tricked me. I thought you were pulling me in.
So can I make a quick movie point?
Yes.
Yes. And you guys might get mad at me. So when you talk about this, and somehow this all went political.
All day long.
Political.
The only political ideology I have is fucking punk rock.
So
the only thing I've added to this is that I know where Stonewall's wall is. The Appalachian Mountains should have been an indicator that we should have stopped the Civil War.
When you talk about,
and just freed everyone.
When you talk about ideology, and obviously we always bring it back to movies. I'm a huge Star Wars geek. I love Star Wars. My favorite Han Solo is the man. Don't fight me.
I love Han Solo. Have you seen
Obi-Wan, baby?
But if you look at it and you look at from a political spectrum, you're almost like, well, who's the bad guy and who's the good guy? So we were always taught as kids, like the Empire bad, Emperor bad, obviously evil human being. But were the Jedi that good? Because it was, you need to do it our way or you can't do it anyway.
Yeah, there's ideology there.
You had a whole spectrum of people who were like, well.
But that's what Luke did, though. Luke brought balance to the Force. He could use both fear, he could both use love, hate, anger. All,
and then he turned into a complete spineless fucking pussy.
All right, but we're not going to those. We're talking about the ideologies of the good ones and maybe the prequels.
But again, if you look at it, why do we have to do it your way? You're saying you're the balance of peace, but who says what peace is? The Jedi are saying.
Do you know the character?
It's this.
Do you know the character Jolie Bindo?
No.
Jolie Bindo. So Jolie Bindo is a character from Jedi Knights, and he makes his way into Knights of the Republic 1, and he's referenced in Knights of the Republic 2 for the video games. But so Jedi Knights is a comic series that deals with like kind of a precursor to, and I think you would really love Jolie Bindo. Jolie Bindo points this out, that people ultimately have choice. And I love that. I love choice, which is what, and I mean, to tie it back in to the political spectrum our country was founded on, was choice. I tell this to people constantly. If we are founded on choice, you have to be open and accepting of people's choice. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous. But at the same time, if you can't embrace that, it is antithetical to this idea of competition, which is that, pseudo-Hamiltonian notion that, like, competition is essential to our way of government, and embraces that same Jeffersonian notion that we need to be a country of people who understand differences. And that's how I unify. I did this in a grad paper. That's how I unify federalism and anti-federalism. I would love to have sat down, especially after the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers were promoted post-revolution to the American populace that could read at that time. I would want to unify the spectrum of federalism and anti-federalism to the notion of respect in differences, because that is where the compromise lies, is respect and differences between viewpoint and competition. Madisonian, right? Madison comes later. Madisonian competition among that spectrum. And the history of our country, I hate to compare it to Star Wars in terms of this. Star Wars violates the history of our country because they create extremes instead of a spectrum of ideological comparisons. And to tie it back into Dune 2, I'm doing all things tonight. To tie it back into Dune 2, it is a spectrum of ideas within a universe where you, as the viewer, have to judge where you would lie on that spectrum. And that's art.
So,
fucking A, I'm good.
I'll move away from political, and I'll ask a question.
Okay.
Who turned Anakin Skywalker to the dark side?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I would say it was the influence of men.
The Jedi turned Anakin Skywalker.
That's such a broad statement. You can't say that.
Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't do his job.
You deal with a guy who grew up dirt poor.
Yep.
His mother was kidnapped. His mother was raped.
Yes.
And all he was told is bury your feelings, bury them down. Don't feel that.
Yeah.
On a human level, if you tell someone you had this horrific thing happen to you, bury it down. And I'm not a violent man by nature, but sometimes some good old-fashioned revenge is fucking needed. And you know what? He went and killed the friggin' the Bantas. Abso-fucking-lutely. And he was told, ignore it. Leave your family behind. And it's almost very communist in saying that. Leave your family behind. You can't talk to them anymore. You're serving the collective. It's almost like the Jedi are almost like the
That's an oversimplification. That is fascism. That's not communism.
Well, fascism and communism are kissing cousins All you have to look at is
so Nick, you're referencing. I want to say this. You're referencing what your high school teacher taught you about the spectrum, and it's a line. It's not. The political spectrum is a circle.
Yes, it is.
And at the two elements right here are fascism and communism. Fascism and communism
they're kissing cousins.
Yeah,
they're
right here, man. It's why when you learn about Chairman Mao, left, and Stalin, they seem so similar, which are the two furthest, regardless of what you've read, the two furthest right and left people that you've ever heard of are Stalin and Mao. And so they start here, right?
Why would you start with Stalin? Why wouldn't you start with Lenin? Lenin led to Stalin.
Oh, but despite Lenin leading to Stalin, don't forget, Lenin had this idea of compromise that was built into his ideology. So he's not as far right as somebody like Stalin, who abused the ideology into control. And what's weird, so check this out, Mick. Oh, man, you're going to hate this. Stalin, you know what he started as? Teacher.
Mm-hmm. Guess
what? Most of them do because they have influence. They know how to influence.
What did Marx start as? A teacher. What did Pol Pot start as?
Teacher.
A teacher.
We can say that about many monsters, but we could say that about many great men in history.
I'm just saying, like, so that's the thing is, like, it's this weird circle where you have on this end, right? Mm-hmm. That left end, you have Stalin, and on this end you have some crazy mother, like, okay, Hitler, right here, right? And it's a circle. And it builds around like this. And at the very bottom, you have what our actual ideology should be in our country. This competition of perspectives.
No, what we have now is some fucking idiot who said, feel free to invade NATO countries because you don't pay your bill.
I want the actual ideas of, like, Jesus. All right? Not the bullshit Christianity. I'm talking about, like, Jesus, man.
So historically, Jesus was a communist, Mick.
No, it wasn't.
But he was awesome. No, he wasn't. Are you kidding me? He was a fucking Republican. Who are you talking about? He wore a red sash. He was white.
I'm a Republican.
Jesus was not white. Jesus wasn't white.
Well, I mean, for anyone to think Jesus was white is just ignorant.
Right?
It's just ignorant. So Mike was going to go into the Orange Overlord. I love it. So
he's over there like,
hold on, let me get my gold sneakers on.
So Nick and I, for truth and transparency, I'm a constitutional conservative.
That's fine.
But Nick and I, because we're brothers, we're what people hate.
Wait, what?
Bro, we're what people hate because we can have.
Speak for yourself.
No, you and I are what people. Our interactions are what people hate.
Oh, because
we can have debates about things,
actual debates and conversations.
But it's never like my brother is. And I'm not going to label you. My brother doesn't believe the way I do politically. So I'm not going to go, I hate him, fuck him, cancel him, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but I think thinking anyone who has political ideologies in this country, and I'm talking about this country.
George just got in for the political stuff, man.
You missed the strippers. Well, let me finish my point. Because you guys are saying all the smart stuff, and I'm usually just sitting here high. So now let me just sit here and finish my smart point. And I'm going to lose it because I'm twisted. Anyway, so
hammered.
Set me up, baby. So listen, here's the deal. What were we talking about? Oh, so listen. In this country, we have two key sides, essentially, two ideologies, right?
Which is a shame.
And anyone who says I only think this way is a fucking moron, and anyone who says I only think this way is a fucking moron. If you don't have measures from all sides of and ideologies, if you can't take pieces from different degrees, from different areas, from different things, then you are not a free thinker.
Smartest thing.
You're not.
Smart.
How are you? And the things that take away free thinking are religion. Unfortunately, how this government handles education is taking away from free thinking. But I think hopefully they can't stifle out the internet the way they both want to yet. So that way information can still be free and accessible for these kids that have an education system that's failing them. But like there's many areas, and both sides fuck up all the time because they only want to push their shit. So I'm sorry if I'm president. Hold on. Totally. Let me finish my smart stuff. If I'm president, it is a president for all, right? It is, to me, it is paramount, if I'm president, that my chief of staff all the way through my cabinet is made up of two from both parties until we can mix and mingle and get them together or have things come together. But I need both sides, both ideologies, but I need the best minds from both of those sides to come in here and politically help me. Because you cancel each other out when you pick one side and only listen to it. And you have a whole country filled with both sides. You're not an effective leader.
I just realized AJ doesn't know about my shirt.
May I chime in for a second on a few things?
Now you can. My smart stuff's over. I'm going back to being high.
Probably some of the smartest shit I've ever heard you say.
Thanks.
One, and Mike knows I am a faithful man. I am a very faithful man. My faith has saved my life. I love Jesus. I hate religion. I absolutely hate religion. I low-key
love it. Despite being atheist.
I hate religion.
I low-key love it.
One counterpoint I'll say to you, Mike, is if Mick Manhattan became the president of the United States, it'd be awesome because I'd be able to do whatever I want. But
you can't. That's not how it works.
If I was president, I don't want anybody in my cabinet from any side. I want somebody who says I'm on no side. I'm on the side that's going to make things normal.
You can't. You can't bring out people. The compromise is bringing more voices in. Compromise is hearing from both sides.
I'm talking utopian. And what I really think, in a nutshell, is all of us, whether you're conservative, liberal, libertarian, whatever, we all need to grow the fuck up. We all need to grow the fuck up and understand that it's okay not to agree with each other. I may not agree with Mick Manhattan on everything, but you know what? That's how he feels. I may think how he feels is wrong, but guess what? I'm going to show him the respect as a human being he deserves. I'm going to treat him with respect. I hope he treats me with respect. And we may walk away going, that guy's out of his mind. And he may look at me and go, he's out of his mind. But you know, but you know what? We're still collectively say, you know what? We're human beings. And I think at its basic participle, we're human beings. Treat each other like human beings. What just happened to you?
I'm here.
I saw Dan's reaction.
Sorry, I'm also trying to run something else over here.
No, I love you, buddy. No, hold on. He just asked what happened and why my face is all wet.
Did my sister-in-law smack you in the face with a towel? Because that's awesome.
No, I put up the finger picture that I have when I turn my camera off, and I went to take a drink of water while you were talking, and I saw Dan's reaction to it, and I laughed, and the water blew back into my face.
And my favorite thing is Madisonian competition, and it irritated the hell out of my political professors in college.
I'll be right back.
I think that James Madison, despite my worship of Thomas Jefferson, and I worship at the altar of Thomas Jefferson. James Madison had the better view of how things should be in terms of competition. And like, I think that like where we are better is through conflict, where something arises. It's weird because to a certain extent, like the association with Marxism that goes wrong, people don't actually understand what he was saying. There's a portion of his conflict theory where Marx points out that the conflict that it's associated with the working class and the ruling class,
the proletariat and the bourgeoisie,
is the only conclusion that can like arise
which
from
is
any scenario, which is accurate, right? That's like one of the accurate, like, kind of like.
There's always going to be conflict.
Yep.
There's a reason why, and Marx said it best. The end goal was communism, and people who talk about the Soviet Union was a communist country. No, it was a socialist country.
It was socialist, which is different.
There has been a communist country or a communist nation ever.
Because it's a theory. It's like
socialism led to communism.
Yep.
But when you put one controlling class, and it's almost hyperbole or hypocritical.
Yeah,
you're putting one.
You associate it as utopian.
Yeah, your argument is proletariat versus bourgeoisie and proletariat, yet your political ideology is in fact putting the proletariat in charge of the ways and means. Everybody's equal. And that's why socialism has never worked.
Like time and again.
It's never worked. Venezuela.
George Orwell called it out in A Child's Fable, Animal Farm. He's demonstrated exactly the hypocrisy that takes place in terms of socialism. Is
the fact that you just quoted Animal Farm means you and I are fucking cool, because
I taught to sophomores for 12 years.
It doesn't, and
everybody ignores, AJ, though? You know what everybody ignores about the end of that book is the end of the book suggests something that I've argued my entire career as an educator. It's that the only thing that is a threat to our freedom is power.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take the place of communism. It doesn't take the place of socialism, fascism. You can name it whatever you want.
Here, I'll do you one better because I'm a political science nerd. Do you have a 401k?
I don't. I have a pension.
Do you have an IRA?
I have my private IRA, yeah.
Okay. Do you know that there's a bill sponsored by Elizabeth Warren in committee right now that would tax your realized gains? Not your gains, your realized gains.
With the eventual pull of it?
So basically, if you had 200, if you bought...
Nick's like, oh shit, what do I walk into?
If you bought...
Dolphin strippers.
If you bought Spacely Sprockets for 10 cents a share, and you put $1,000 in there, or say $100,000, 10 cents a share, and then for some reason it jumped to $100 a share. Now you didn't
dog sprockets, right?
Like, you didn't cash it out. You just have it in stock.
Let it roll.
They want to tax your realized gains.
Yeah.
That is scary as fuck.
It is. Yeah.
Of course they do. Of course they do, AJ. You know why they do?
Anti-middle class shit. Like so there are three things that occurred over the span of the past 70 years that really kind of transformed this. One of the first things that ever, like, and Tim can talk way better than I can about this.
Shut up, Tim, and come on.
Tim knows as somebody who's a CPA more than I do about this. I'm quoting him, not my own research. Okay. After the 1950s, when they started basically decreasing a specific tax and the basic amounts to the top 0.1%, it depleted specific resources and attacked the middle class. And then during the 1980s, when they basically took like what amounts to like anybody who is operating under a specific, let's call it now in our age, 100 to 280,000. If you're operating in that range, in the 1980s, whatever your equivalent money was, they took a similar thing to what AJ's talking and basically said, okay, there's a specific amount that you need to pay on your 401k. Now, that's the nice part about a pension. I don't get taxed my pension. Sorry, guys. I don't. But with my 401k, there's a specific contribution tax that you pay. That was in the 1980s. And like,
no, you don't pay. You
Don't
don't
talk bad about Reagan.
You don't pay a tax on what you contribute to your 401k. What happens is it's twofold. You either do what's called a pre-tax 401k or a post-tax 401k.
Yep.
If you do a pre-tax, basically, if you put $400 a month into your 401 or $400 a paycheck into your 401k, it deducted the amount of taxable income you got every
when you
paycheck.
contributed it.
But when you started drawing it, you paid the tax.
But prior to that, you didn't pay anything on it.
Yes, you did. You paid gains tax.
Oh my God, this is a movie.
Let's talk movies now. Let's.
So, if you were working at the bank in Heat and you kept all your money there,
I would have paid those guys to help me break it out. 100%. That's what you call a loss. You write it off as a loss. And it's at
fucking higher rate. I would have waited for 5 minutes.
Oh, come on, man. It was good.
You're
It was
not
just
even
getting
like,
good.
no, it was not getting good. You have to have all like the crazy buttons, like that one dude, Jim Cramer. Just like hitting all the buttons
and
as you're
like,
talking
listen,
about IRAs and shit.
If you follow that guy for economic advice, you're going to be broke.
Who says I'm following that guy for economic advice? I want to see the buttons, dude.
I
hearing all
feel
the sound effects.
I feel braggy. I don't have to because I have a pension. So
I got a pension too.
yeah. Oh, you do.
Yes,
That's right, AJ. Fuck yeah, pensions.
Jesus Christ.
We all should have fucking pensions, man. Like
Uh,
what people and AJ can vouch for this. What people don't realize in pensions, we pay into that shit. We pay into it. In
8%.
Michigan, check this out, AJ. In Michigan, a couple of years ago, I want to say back 2016, police officers lost 20% of their pension without even like.
Well, so that's a common thing, and thankfully in Washington D.C. they can't do it. A lot of states, New Jersey was a big one.
Yep.
You have your state pension. I'm assuming you were a teacher.
I'm an administrator now.
Okay, so in states, I don't know if Michigan can do, but in certain states, you have your pension fund. I pay 8% of paycheck into my pension.
4%. Yeah.
You have your pension board that invests your money.
People think we get that for free though, dude.
Well, the thing is, DC has a law on the books, unlike a lot of places. DC cannot borrow against our pension.
Oh, Michigan. They thanks to the early 1990s, they can borrow against our pension fund.
Yep. And that's where like Mick and I are from New Jersey. They borrowed against the police and firefighters pension for decades and killed that pension. And what you had is like our father, he was paying, he retired, he got 70% of his salary. He was paying 4% a paycheck into his pension, which I'd give my left nut.
That's money. That's his money.
But he's only paying 4%. But when it comes time to pay people out and you don't have money because you defaulted on 3 loans against his pension, you're screwed. But the thing I don't get that Mick will get
Trust
is
those fuckers.
I won't get Social Security because I don't pay into Social Security.
Oh, we have to pay in Social Security.
Because I have a defined pension.
Yep.
So, and that's the only reason I'm still doing what I do is my pension. It's the only thing that can.
So, I'm so sorry. We co-opted this, Mick. Like we're sharing.
I'm just watching. I'm looking at memes at this point.
Because I'm going to have to get off shortly. It is March. It's St. Patrick's Day. Parade Day is next Saturday.
Slanja.
Oh, in Manassas? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it is. And it's also, for the people in the chat, it is my brother Mick Manhattan's birthday, March 13th.
Oh,
And,
God.
I'm going to leave it because I do have to get off because I have to be up in 4 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I have to go to work and get my pension. Sorry we co-opted your show, Mike. I apologize.
AJ, I love anytime you're on, man. I do.
I just want to say, Mike, I'm super proud of you. Happy birthday. If I don't get to talk to you beforehand, you are the smartest of us. I'm super proud of you. Keep kicking ass. And we talk offline about a lot of things, but I'm super proud of you, man. And you're freaking kicking ass, dude.
Wait, why wouldn't we talk about that stuff offline?
We're taking the kids home, but dude, you're doing big things, man, and I'm super proud of you.
Oh, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. That's really nice of you to say. Thanks.
And
I'm glad I heard that.
Chat, keep freaking following them. Keep doing
Like
big
and
things.
subscribe.
And I love you, brother. And I'm gonna go. I gotta go to bed. But seriously, Mike, I love you. You're doing great,
buddy.
And I'm sorry I keep
Anytime, AJ. I love
Talk to
sparring
you
with
soon,
you.
AJ.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later, and we'll co-opt your podcast next Friday.
Next time we'll talk about CDs.
I can tell you about burning a bunch of CDs. I lost my virginity to Just a Girl by No Doubt. It was awesome. While watching Melrose Place, it was fucking fantastic.
Jesus Christ, you're a walking
The most
fucking
90s sentence ever. Like, come on.
If you saw AJ in the 90s, he was one of the most things ever.
Dude, fuck it. I had a bowl cut, shaved around the sides.
Oh, yeah, pull it back, right?
It was red, green.
That shit was orange, dude. Don't even fucking finish.
I had 2 earrings, an earring up here. I had my nipple pierced. May or may not have had a piercing down there on a drunken night down at Seaside Heights. Yeah.
I didn't get it pierced.
Yeah.
That was a weird night, but whatever. That's all I'm saying. I'm taking a drink to that weird night.
Sorry.
No,
you're good.
Night, man.
All right, guys. I got to go to bed. I got to be up in 4 hours.
Yeah, get it.
Later, bro. Bye.
I love anytime AJ's on. I don't
God. I got back from the bathroom and I'm like, are they fucking talking about IRAs? I'm like, where did this go? Dude, you'd be surprised, man. Where we live, like fucking it threw up the Civil War.
I know, it really did. It really did.
There's Mary.
Hi.
Hi, Mary.
Yeah, we did. We had Casey used to go running in Bull Run.
I'd like a couple times there. Casey and I got to spar. My favorite thing about college was disagreeing with people. That was my favorite thing. And
mine too, but for films.
or if I'd like that too. I mean, we did that over beers, but like, God, do I miss that? Like that kind of conversation where when you can have. That's why I'm part of this community, Mick. Is like we talk about this shit, and it's not the end of the universe. We disagree. I say Jaws fucking is 2/3 of the movie, and we still talk about it.
You're
Like
still fucking ridiculous over that. What
like
the fuck?
that's the thing is like I love the fact, and I get to say it while your brother's on, but like I don't have an ideology. There's no representation of me. It never has been. I am a pro-individual, pro-tax person. I don't mind that I'm taxed because I want goods and services. I don't mind that I'm individualistic because I want to be taxed while also being respected. And that is a pseudo unique perspective. And I understand that to anybody that's listening, I know I'm full of shit. Okay. But that's, I know like people, I am a blue dog Democrat, gun carrying, pro individual, anti fucking like fascist view. And nobody's ever going to represent me but
you are a free thinker. That's what we need.
You don't get, Mick, you don't get representation with that. Okay. And I'm running in this right now with my wife in terms of the election. If you want to prep for you're going to do this show. Okay. Like, I am a blue dog Democrat who feels guilty about voting for Joe Biden and glad that Donald Trump should never touch office, while also hating a lot of the direction of the Democrat Party and rejecting the religious principles of everything that is conservatism. Okay.
Yeah, you and I are very similar, except I have a faithful side and some spirituality, hate religion. You don't.
So I'm pro religion because I view as religion is the unionization of conservatism, the way unions unite Democrats. Okay.
Yeah,
like that's how I view like religion.
They're the checks and balance. It's the checks and balance. Yeah.
And there's an equal
balance
the
problem. That's both
and
the
religion,
problem.
right?
Their biggest issues.
You have the Venn diagram, but like I feel like there's a checks and balances there. And
those are the extremists that destroy the possibility of compromise and coming together.
Bingo. And like that's and I told myself in 2020, this is a debate in my house. I told myself in 2020, I said I'll vote for Joe Biden this time. Well, knowing that it was not a pro-Biden but an anti-Trump vote. Knowing that. I have a lot of issues with Trump. I haven't hidden that at this show at any time. And if people want to come after me, that please, let's have that. You can come on the show. Let's talk about it because I have a lot of.
No, come on my new show. That's what that's for.
I have a lot of issues with how he presents himself as a person of faith, yet has no representation of it. All of these things. Like I grew up Catholic, ladies and gentlemen. Like I was an altar boy. I know faith. I'm not a person of it, but I know
12 years of Catholic school right here.
I respect it. I respect it because it's something I couldn't achieve. And that's why I respect it. I would never be able to achieve it. So if you are a person of faith and listening, please understand I respect you. Like I am too weak to respect to adopt that. In your mind,
faith is different from religion. I don't respect religion. I can respect faith. So I can respect belief in a higher power. I can respect even Jesus. I've got no problems with Jesus, but like my problem is religion.
I have a problem with this
combination of a lot of issues. Well, like I think one of my big issues overall with everything is that it eliminates all free thinking. So there is no able to look at any other side. It's this or you're out.
Yeah.
But this the threat, it's the guilt trips, it's the things like that's indoctrination in its fucking definition to the very core.
So the rejection of that has led me to this idea in our household where my wife is like, you're going to waste your vote by either not voting or potentially voting for Kennedy. And I might. I was like, Mick.
I told Mary, if Nikki Haley does win, I might vote for her.
I can't help it. I can't. I'm so. I will not. I will not pull a 19 and if you're doing your show, I will not pull a 1984 and vote for Ronald Reagan. I won't do it. Knowing that Joe Biden is who he is and has mental, and this is the thing, like my grandfather is in his 70s, late 70s, and still working 16 hours a day. I'm not going to vote for the man for president. I'll respect him, but I won't vote for him. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't trust it. And I said after 2020, I'm done voting for anybody basically in this. If you accuse me of ageist, okay, I accept that. Anybody over the age of 68, I'm probably not voting for president. I'm probably not. Because statistically, if you are male, you could die in office. And that's the thing. I will never vote for a vice president. I won't vote for a vice president. I won't do it because that is not the intention of the vice president role.
No.
And that's my contingency. And so if the parties are going to come out here and give me the choice between two people over the age of 68, both running for president of the United States, while also being statistically likely to die in office, you do not have my vote. I said it. I would do it in 2020 because I thought it needed to be done. And after that point, also, I'll mention on this show, I don't care. I donated $100 to the campaign of Bernie Sanders because he was the only person actually talking about education.
And was cheated at by his own party.
In 2016, he was cheating. I voted for him in 2016. I voted him in 2020. I did.
So
I'll say it.
My point is, at this point, like, I want anyone who's different. I don't want, and I know, like, it's just I'm fucking tired. We just trade off every 4 years or 8 years. We trade off, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, I really enjoyed when Obama was president. It was really nice after fucking Bush.
I had issues. What's weird, so Bush, by the time he left office, I had grown to appreciate his mediocrity. That sounds so weird to say, right? I'd grown to appreciate his mediocrity.
I appreciate nothing from him.
By the time that President Obama left office, I grew disappointed with some of his more conservative elements. Like, this is what's weird to me. He's one of the most hawkish. Do you know the term hawkish, Mick?
No.
So hawkish is warish. It's like you have this.
Oh, okay. Yes, I have heard
the military. Okay.
Yeah.
He had one of the most hawkish 8 years of any president in the recent 50 years. And what bothered me was Democrats lauded it, which should not be the case. And Republicans were, I hate Obama, which should not be the case. To a certain extent, Republicans should have embraced President Obama more. Democrats should have rejected him more, statistically, based upon their preferences, based upon their voting trends. And it irked me as somebody, and your brother is a political study, right? Like, he would know what I'm talking about in terms of this. Statistically, Obama was a moderate, and actually an extreme moderate Democrat, yet was treated as an extreme liberal. And I have a specific viewpoint in terms of this where I don't understand that reconciliation. And it has, since 2008, bothered me because we've transcended, to a certain extent, a different political ideology where the terms liberal and Democrat, or liberal and Democrat, conservative, Republican, no longer apply. But political theorists don't apply that anymore because they are, I'm just going to say it, I don't care if it's conspiracy theory, they're bought and sold by people who have money. And the terms liberal and the terms Democrat and the terms conservative, the terms Republican no longer exist. You can't tell it when you're living through it, but they're not actual things anymore.
And it just, yeah, you're fucking right. It just drives me fucking crazy. Listen.
I'm sorry, I got really deep. I'm sorry, man.
I know.
We can wrap it up. It's almost 11, so we can wrap it up.
I'm probably going to
fun. I love when AJ's on the show. We got really derailed from films into politics, but that's okay. Next week, let's talk about the strategic implications of the 34 defense and how middle linebackers actually.
No, I have a whole wheel.
Like, I'm just saying, like, I love this show in any term.
What I'm gonna what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a wheel that has different things on it.
You want?
So it's going to be movies. It's going to be movies and TV. It's going to be politics. It's going to be religion. It's going to be fucking whatever else. Anything. Oh
Sturdy!
shit. God damn it.
I want to tell one more story while Sturdy's here.
All right. What's up, Sturdy? Why did you have
Sturdy,
to
listen to this?
Okay, we were almost gone and then you pulled me back in.
And so I was teaching speech. This was 2011. I was teaching speech in 2011. And this is why I love this show. I'm tying both in together, Mick. I promise. I'm so sorry. I was doing improv speeches. Okay. And my students have to draw topics that I had generated out of a hat. Like, and they were like, you're standing up there in front of us. You stand up there in front of us, but
sorry, I meant to put this one on.
I was like, I do this every day. They're like, you do not. And I was like, okay, test me. You guys generate 50 topics and put them in a hat, and I'll do 3 impromptu speeches. You give me the same qualifications that I've given you.
Okay. I can do that.
So they do it, and they generate. The first time I draw out of their hat is tampons.
Nice.
First topic. And I gave a 5-minute fucking excellent goddamn speech on tampons, the best. And they were like, how did you just do this? And I said, I listened to my wife.
Boom.
I listened to every girlfriend I had before her about in every commercial. And I referenced it.
An educated mind to use.
Yep.
Filled in the gaps of the things.
God damn it. And this is what I like about this kind of format is.
And that is why when it's Shark Week, you stay out of the ocean, ladies. It's dangerous.
And bears. Stay away from bears. I heard that in Friday 13th part 2, so it has to be true.
Bears and sharks. They can both smell blood. Stay away.
Remember that now was a legitimate fear in this country that women's periods are
okay. Seriously. Sturdy popped on, Mick. I got a potty.
Yeah, all right, I'll talk to Sturdy for a minute. Go potty.
Okay, all right. I'm so sorry.
We've been taking breaks, but we're not talking about IRAs while you're gone.
No,
and then listen, I like talking with AJ on the show, man.
You should do your own. Because I was. Are you leaving? Go back.
No, I'll be right back.
All right, Sturdy. It's been a wild night, man. It's been a really wild night. I don't know what's going on. I don't know which way is up. These guys were talking about fucking the Civil War. And I'm pretty sure I made the dumbest fucking comment about the Civil War I ever have, which was, why should we go to war with the Appalachian Mountains? Why would you want to climb mountains and fight? It makes no sense. We should have just ended war and freed everybody. That was my whole argument, was the Appalachian Mountains, dude.
This guy. Sounds like you got a gummy tonight.
Yep.
Oh, dude, I spit up water on myself at one point.
Nice.
It's been a wild ride tonight.
You had a good time. I watched Blue Sunshine, and it was a hell of a time for me.
Was it everything that it was the first time?
I don't remember, but I think so. I'm being honest.
I fucking love it. Holy shit, man. Oh, dude. So, are you excited for tonight? Who's joining in?
Tonight's just me and Jeff. The other guys got to work. He's watching that shit right now. Blue Sunshine, oh, man. Dude, I do recommend it though. I definitely recommend that movie. It's a fun watch. It's a weird watch. It's a watch I say be high for if you're a smoker.
Okay. I dig it.
Smoker. Maybe have a buzz if you're a drinker. If you do anything else, I don't speak on that because I don't do it and I don't know anything about it. I don't drink anymore either, but I used to drink, so I can speak on drinking. Have a sip, have a drink. But don't get drunk. Get like a nice buzz. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're high, don't get too high to where you're falling asleep or too distracted. You get distracted too damn easy. Just high enough to where you're like focused on the movie, though. If you get what I mean.
I want to see. It keeps coming back to it, but I want to see Dune 2.
Because the bucket, I know.
Oh, Sturdy, I have to ask you. Would you?
Dolphin strippers?
Dolphin strippers. Would you put? I can't answer the question. I can't say it.
Where's Dan? We need him for the save.
He's gonna have to come back soon.
Oh,
he's probably watching while he's on the toilet.
Yep.
I'm gonna try and say. Can't fucking say it every time I go to say it. We talked about it at the beginning of the episode.
I had the YouTube. By the way, I had the YouTube up, which I still do right now. I just had it on while I was watching the movie. And I see this hashtag dolphin strippers. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? I want to listen, but I can't.
All right. So
is it Miami Dolphins, like the football team, or is it like the
it has nothing to do with Dolphins whatsoever. Would you punch a stripper in the butthole? What? To keep the glitter away?
Nah.
There's no context.
How did this come? Who came up with this? You?
It's not a woman stripper.
Well, yes, it is. If it's around me. Yes, no, it is. Only type it would be.
I don't even know how it came up. Dan had to go and use fucking glitter in his drink tonight.
And
then we talked. And then he basically the context is from there.
I get it because he had to put glitter in the drink. The drink was also colorful, which strippers can wear colorful clothing or lack thereof. There's always a glitter around. Glitter is also colorful, so you guys combined it, boom, like that. And on top of that, drinks. He's making mixed drinks. What do they serve at strip clubs? Drinks.
I mean, correlations are perfect.
2 drink minimum to be exact. So MasterShake should be 2 drinks tonight.
And did you happen to catch how?
Oh, he had listen, MasterShake, dolphin strippers. That's the next drink you need to make.
More glitter, please.
I would say maybe like an ocean blue with some glitter, maybe a little grayish in there for the dolphin color, if possible.
Oh my god! Were there any dolphins in Blue Sunshine?
No dolphins.
Damn, so close.
Acid though.
Lots and lots of acid.
Yes, but no dolphins.
Oh my god, man, I love it. That is so
dolphin stripper drink.
Fucking funny.
Strippers.
Holy shit, man. What? I just there's some mind-boggling shit tonight, Sturdy.
I might have to bring dolphin strippers on to Sturd-O-Vision tonight, if I remember.
Yeah, let's start this. Let's ride this train all the way through. Dolphin stripper.
Dolphin strippers. MasterShake into the drink.
MasterShake is dropping the deuce of all deuces.
He is.
Where are you, sir? We miss you. Just leave him up. Just hear weird sounds. It sounds like a porpoise.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, if I heard him grunting or yelling in the background, you'd have to leave that up. He's like, pushing it out like he's going insane.
What kind of sound does a dolphin make? I can't remember. No, that's not it.
Similar to a whale underwater.
How do you do? Eek, eek, eek. Is that it? Are you fucking with me? Is that it? I think my wife's fucking with me.
You got a flipper.
Eek, 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 eek.
The arm movements really help. That time.
Nick is high as shit. I wish I was on that level right now.
I'm not even that high. This is just, I'm truly trying to think about how dolphins sound.
YouTube is your friend, my friend.
I know, but I was testing it out for myself first. All right, I'm gonna look it up. Dolphin sounds.
By the way, Rodan was mentioned in Blue Sunshine.
Oh, was it a Japanese movie?
No, just a weird ass 70s movie. Oh man, lots of acid. Oh man, it was fun though. It was really fun.
Hold on, let me pull this up so we can see what a dolphin sounds like. Dude, I might go back and watch the original Rodan and Mothra after all is said and done.
And Blue Sunshine. You should watch that as well.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like a rattle, like a with a rattle. I can't.
They make all different kinds of noises though. Because the other one was the one right after was like a high pitched.
Are you fucking with me again? I can't tell if she's fucking with me or not. This show's going off the rails today.
Listen, man. Sometimes the train has to do that. True, motherfuckers.
That train has left the fucking building, sir.
Shit.
Look at it. Dan didn't even come back. He's like, I'll be right back. And then he just left.
He has the Hershey squirts. He can't help it.
Oh, I got an idea. This one's just for you. And Dan can join in later. No, I'm not going to show you something. Well, I am going to show you something. Let's spin that wheel. I want to test the new topics.
Thought it was R. Kelly again.
No. Oh, that's coming. Do you got your passport?
I don't.
Number 45. Number 45 is okay, here we go. Do you have your passport? Did you get your shots? Do you want to come back with Rob to America?
No, yes, and no.
No, it's if you could design a new alien species for a sci-fi movie, what would they look like and what would their culture be like? Now, that's interesting because your logo is kind of cool. Yeah.
That would be the look.
That would be a cool look for it.
Yeah.
And then but what would their culture be like?
I have to figure that out.
That like they got those power arms. Like it looks like it's got no.
That's a different variation of it though.
I like that one though. I thought that was cool.
That I have some other ones I didn't show. Like he made me quite a few. I haven't, I gotta show off some more. I'll show you some more.
Cool. He's gotta get them monster arms though.
He's I'm not sure about that. That's something I'd really have to think about. And honestly, me and John were talking about collabing down the road on a story type deal or something. So maybe that can be. Maybe we can wrap right around that.
Okay.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know when that time comes. I love that answer. I love that question.
Dude, all I know is fucking.
It would definitely be wrapped around the Sir Sturdy. It'd have to be.
Well, the culture wouldn't be Sir Sturdy.
Well, I mean the look.
Oh, okay.
Look,
gotcha.
The world. Yeah. But the culture would be. That's the thing. I have to think about that. How that plan would be. How the culture would be.
Would they be monsters? Like a warlike culture or something?
They would be tough and all that stuff, but they would be misunderstood. They would be feared for no reason.
Okay, kind of like the similar sort of to the Na'vi from Avatar. Maybe not that. Not that.
Not even that. I would just say from kind of anything that's just unknown. So it's just like automatically feared because it's different.
Okay. Bigfoot.
get to know it, and it's like, oh wow, not so bad after. Oh shit, not bad at all actually. Just don't piss them off. Just don't piss them off. Because it's tough to. It takes a lot to calm them down.
That's legit.
Takes a lot to get him mad though, so it's not like angry like the Hulk, like stub my toe, and then all of a sudden we're just ready to scrap. But
I hope I never stub a goddamn toe again in my life. Every time I even hear it, I just
the worst is
the
like,
world.
when it's like you got to clip your toenails, but you don't. You're like, oh fuck it, I'll do it later, and then
oh,
boom.
don't you fucking dare! Don't you fucking dare! I will mick you right now. I'm gonna mick you up. I'm by myself now. This is son of a. How
and
dare
then top
you?
off, what happened? The lights are in the background. I told you should have cut your nails. I told you so.
Fucking bad. Should just went to bed, Dan.
Is Dan still shitting?
Dan's probably shitting. Dude, we should just like
it's that beer.
We should just like end the show when it gets back. Then I feel bad because then it's like he came back to and he hung out for a long time.
Dolphin strippers. This is
dolphin strippers, dude. I hope he's coming back. Maybe he texted me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm in bed." He kicked me out. Dan, hurry up.
Word. I forgot.
I am live on the air texting Dan. He said, I'm just gonna text him. Dan, are you pooping?
He's pooping. I'm telling you, he has to be, or he forgot, or he's getting a snack. Oh, I went to go jerk off real quick. Who knows?
He did. He did say he wanted to get that Dune popcorn bucket.
Nice thinking about it.
Holy shit!
Buttery.
I'm gonna go tomorrow. If they still have them, I'm buying one. I'm gonna put my head in it.
Yeah, you are.
But not the one you think. That was good.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
No. I don't want to use that, Nick. No, don't even put that away. Put that in your back.
From now on, anytime I'm on your show, you're just gonna randomly see the Dune popcorn bucket head just kind of like pop up.
I hope so.
Just be like, what's up, guys? What are we talking about? Everything. I can't say it. I can't say it. Happy Women's Month. History Month. I meant that, but I'm just like very all over the place tonight.
It's good you say that though, Mick. I know what you're segueing to. You're segueing to the Strong Woman Month for over on Horror Research 30. I know the wheel's not called that. It's called Mujeres Locas. But
there you go.
All them horror movies on there, and Queen Latifah is the artist of the month. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a good time. And what are the movies next week?
Let's see if I can go by memory.
Are you on your mic?
Oh shit, it's way over here.
Uh-huh.
Listen, man. I plan on being on.
Sure, I didn't see it. It's usually in front of you.
Yeah, for another hour. But what was the question? Oh. What was
your question?
You know what's funny is I just realized I should have made tonight's episode. Well, technically today's episode, the Queen Latifah, tomorrow's episode, I should say, but I didn't because I forgot. So, my bad. The Witch in High Tension.
Very nice. I like it.
Fun. That'd be fun.
She is the equalizer now.
Those will kick it off. Queen Latifah?
Mm-hmm. She has a TV show.
That's right. How is it? Or have you seen it?
I've seen an episode and I didn't hate it. It was similar to like the original, just actually a little more. I like kind of the tonal shift.
Not something you would not something you would go through and watch the whole series of.
Not because I don't think I wouldn't like it.
It's just like that, right?
It's network TV. It's so many episodes. It's really hard with everything we watch for me to commit to that. Like my wife was watching Smallville and I was like, keep going. Because I can't commit to that many episodes. Like with Star Trek and Godzilla and everything and Star Wars and
yeah.
Oh man, I will be so happy in April.
You're not the only one, yo. You are not the only freaking one. Just because, as much as I'm enjoying it all, do not get me wrong. I'm just like, all right, now I can cut it down some, and I can pick up on my horror more. Honestly, which I'm gonna be doing anyway. But still, I'm gonna pick it up a little bit more because it's like, damn, man. Like right now, I'm upset and I'm disappointed because I've watched more non-horror than horror by like 1 or 2 movies because of podcasting.
Yeah.
It's all because of podcasting. But I'm gonna don't worry, by the end of the year, that is not gonna be a problem. And probably after April, maybe even sooner than that, probably sooner than that, it's not gonna be a problem, people. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Well, I like your new plan too of like when you don't go to the theater, you look for what's streaming because they are putting out some really like there's some cool horror movies coming out, new ones like popping out on streaming that are really going under the radar.
They are. And I mean, if we can learn anything from last year with Evil Lurks and the year before with The Sadness, which to me were back-to-back movies of the year, and they were both on Shudder, if I'm not mistaken. Awesome movies.
I believe so. Yeah.
And those were not only my streaming movies of the year for the past 2 years, but my movies of the year. Also, well, I would say for the past 2 years, but The Sadness I seen for the first time last year, so that was my movie of the year last year. But if I would have seen it in 2022, it would have definitely been that, and then Evil Works would have been number one. But yeah, we can't sleep on streaming. We cannot sleep on streaming. I need to use it more. I have all these damn apps, and I'm like, I need to use them more just to go through them and watch them and just see what's out there. You find some gems.
There were so many movies last year that a lot of horror fans were talking about having come out that were you just like you would never think to watch them. It's such word of mouth. They're so indie that like when Evil Lurks, for example, Dark Harvest, another one. You know, there's just been really well sprinkled and kudos to like, yes, I said kudos. To what do you call it? The fucking completely dismantled that whole classy vibe I had going, but it was like a nose bomb.
I gotta watch the Dark Harvest movie, by the way. I heard it was good, and I know you said it was pretty good.
That was based off of, I think it was James. I think James told me about that one.
Oh shit! Okay. Yeah, I gotta check it out.
I don't know. I think it was. I think it was just in our group chat.
Yeah.
So,
but now you're absolutely right with the whole streaming thing, though, man. Because it's again, there's so much shit, and you find even if it's not like an excellent movie, you find something that's like good. Like, oh, I'm not mad I watched it. I'm glad I watched it. I had like I'll give you an example. Like, Totally Killer it was good, but it was like one of those fun horror ones. That was one that actually exceeded my expectations last year. Because I was thinking, I was like, yeah, and don't get me wrong, I love horror comedies, so don't get me wrong when I say this. I was like, this is gonna be another typical horror comedy, but it was better than just your typical horror comedy. Like it didn't ignore the horror elements of it and kind of took those parts serious, but there were still some funny moments in the movie. And I just really enjoyed that. Because for me with horror comedy, I feel like if you're gonna kind of try to take it serious, you need to really then go that route of making the scares, like you were saying before, making the horror like real horror. But if you're gonna go the silly route, like because you guys already know what movie I'm gonna say, and I freaking love it. Mick hates it, but that's fine. Thanksgiving 1 I love it. I adore that movie, and part 3. But 1, I love. It's just a notch. It's just a notch. It's a feather better, maybe 2 feathers. But like with those, they just go very ridiculously off the rails. So you either got to do that, or if you're gonna, like I said, if you're gonna do that kind of semi-serious. But then there's other ones like Shaun of the Dead. That's hilarious. I enjoy that too, but it's super silly at the same time. So I don't know, I'm all over the place with it. Poltergeist sucks. Yes, I said it. I don't like it. It's a freaking musical I didn't like it.
Ridiculous. Now you hate on Poltergeist because why?
I didn't like it. It wasn't funny. It wasn't entertaining.
Thanksgiving because
well, it doesn't live up to Thanksgiving. It doesn't know about Thanksgiving if that's what you're asking. But no, it's just not funny to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think any of them were particularly good.
They're not. I never said they were good. I didn't say
Or
that.
funny.
I said they're good movies. Listen, Mick.
That little fucking turkey annoyed the hell out of me the entire time.
You don't understand him. That's why.
Like, listen, you little back talking bastard.
His name's Turkey.
I know what his name is. I'm not saying it. I'm not giving him power. I'm switching to ham for Thanksgiving.
I would love to meet those guys who made that movie.
Reach out to him.
I might have to try to. I have to try to.
What else they've done?
Thanksgiving 1 and Thanksgiving 3. That's all I know. That's all I need to know.
Oh God, I can't believe you with these movies.
I can't help myself, man. There's just some stuff that just speaks to me in a way that other movies don't. You know? And there's some movies that speak to you and you wish they didn't, like Blood Lake.
So you're like that. You're like the Bobby Fischer of like incredibly weird movies.
I am. I've realized it about myself because, like,
oh shit,
what?
Done some. He did The Headhunter, which came out in 2018. I really dug that movie. He hasn't done anything since then.
Listen,
it was. I mean, that's a bonkers movie too. I think you'd really like that.
Really? What genre? What's this? Non-horror, probably.
No, he's like it's horror.
Okay.
He's like a warrior and not Viking times, but maybe like around those areas, like medieval.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just collects heads.
Okay.
He keeps a collection of heads and he's hunting the monster that killed his family. It was a while. It's pretty fucking crazy. I think you'd really like it. It'd be a good Sturd-O-Vision watch, I think.
Noted.
So, but yeah. So put that on your wheel.
I should. Actually.
Speaking of which, I have to go and take care of some business myself.
Oh, before you go masturbate, can you just give me that movie title one more time?
The Headhunter.
Thank you, sir.
No problem, sir.
The Headhunter, 2018. You said, all right, got it.
I'm gonna say I'm sorry to Dan in case he's watching while he's taking care of business as well. We had to get going. We love you. We appreciate all of your talk about the Civil War, the IRAs, the Federalist Papers, James Madison, and so much more. No, I love Dan, and his topics are always fun. So that's what happened, Sturdy. I went to the bathroom earlier, and I came back, and he and my brother were talking about like the Federalist Papers and IRAs, and then pensions and taxing your pensions, and I'm like, the fuck did I walk back into?
I'm wondering how the hell they got to that.
There easily, it seemed. All right, so that's what we did. But I want to say thank you, everybody watching. Make sure to tune in next week for the Outcasts. We're gonna be having a really fun time. But thank you, Sturdy, for joining in. Thank you to my brother AJ, and thank you to Dan, the man, for being there the whole time. Well, not really. You didn't quite make it, but I love you, buddy. But you were, and I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Take care.
Mm-hmm.